Hello, this is Edward Lambert, and this video is going to be about the moon calendar. This is a calendar to track the moon cycle. Now, within the symmetries of six-element theory, a calendar can be made to track the moon cycles. The calendar is very exact. There are 3 cycles in the calendar. Days is the inmost cycle, counts 4 7-day periods. Weeks is another cycle, counts 4 7-week periods. And you have this outer cycle. Here, this outer cycle is these 7 squares going around here. And these adjust time every 28 weeks. Okay, this moon calendar counts 7 moon cycles. How exact is the calendar? It is 2 seconds off every moon cycle. So the calendar is off by 14 seconds every 7 moon cycles. This is very exact. It's very simple, very precise, and very exact. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so counting time. Scientifically, the moon cycle is calculated as 29.5305888 days. This calendar counts 29.5306122 days. The difference every moon cycle is minus 0.0000234 days. In other words, minus 0.0000234 times 86,400 seconds in a day is equal to 2 seconds. So how does this calendar count 29.5306122 days per moon cycle? Well, let's look at each cycle and count them as we go. So this is counting days. The inner cycle of the calendar counts days. It's this calendar. You go yellow, blue, green, red. These are all days. All these little yellow squares in here count days. This is the inner cycle. So the inner cycle counts clockwise. So when you start here, the first day here, second day here, third day here, fourth, fifth, sixth, and so on. The first 6 days are colored with yellow. You see 6 days in yellow with the 7th day in blue. Right here, this will be the 7th day on that blue cross. And then the second 6 days are colored with blue, coming through here, and they end up on the 7th day on this blue cross. And then 6 days of green on this, and the 7th day right here crosses the blue cross. Then 7 more days, we have 6 of this red, and then it ends up here on the blue cross. Now at the end of a 20-day period, a day is added, which you'll see here colored in red. Well, it's circled in red. This extra day gives 29 days to the inner cycle. So you have 7 days, 7 days, 7 days, 7 days. That's 4 weeks of 7 days, 28 days. And then you add a 29th day at the very end. So the inner cycle counts 29 days. 4 weeks of 7 days plus an extra day. This full inner cycle is a month. It is counted 7 times in the calendar. And you'll see that this is counted 7 times in the calendar by this weekly cycle out here. And I'll get to that on the next slide. So counting weeks. So we went through here, we counted the daily cycle counterclockwise, but now this outer cycle of weeks counts clockwise around like this way. So you'll see this first week in yellow is counted here. The second week in blue will be counted here. Then you have your third week in green, your 4th week in red. So then you get this block of 4 weeks makes 1 month. And then you get another block of 4 weeks makes another month. So let's count these. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks. And each one of these yellow, blue, green, red blocks is a month, 4 weeks. So the weekly cycle counts 7 moon cycles of 29 days, which gives 203 days. When the daily and weekly cycles coincide in the same position on the blue cross, another day is added. This happens every 7 weeks. I'm going to show this to you. This happens every 7 weeks, and this happens 4 times in the calendar. By adding these 4 extra days every 7 weeks, the calendar is now 207 days, which is 203 plus these 4 extra days. So now you have these 207 total days divided by 7 moon cycles, or 7 months, which now gives you 29.5714286 days per moon cycle. But now I want to show you how this calendar works. Okay, here we're looking at the calendar. We're going to be counting through the calendar and watching how the days change. So this is the fire. This is the first day of the first week as the daily cycle goes counterclockwise. And the weekly cycle is coming to an end. So we're coming to the end of the calendar here. So I'm going to show you how to get there. So this is water. This is going to be the last 4 weeks. So let's go through this last month. You'll see the first week comes to an end on that blue cross. And then the next week will start and you'll see the weekly cycle jump down. So now let's come down to the seed week. And now move forward another week. Blue cross coming down, coming down. This is the last week of the moon cycle. So you come down here, you've come to the last day of 28 days. Now here you count the 29th day. And now since this is the last day of the calendar, there's going to be another day on it right there. So when the daily cycle and the weekly cycle coincide on the blue cross, another day is added. And there's 4 of these. One here, one here, one here, and one here. This is the last one. So now we're going to start the calendar. I'm just going to go running through the calendar from the very first day, and you can watch how it moves. So this is the first day of the calendar. The calendar has just started. A 7-month cycle. So here we come to the end of the first month. You add your 29th day, and then you move on. First week, second week, third week. Now you'll see here that the X's here for the daily cycle and the weekly cycle coincide on the blue cross. So what do? You add another day. So every 7 weeks, you are adding another day. Moving on. Coming to the end of a month here. And when you come down here to the end of the month, you're going to add another day to make 29 days. There's your 29th day. Moving forward, coming up here, and now you're going to see that the daily cycle and the weekly cycle coincide on the blue cross. So you know you're going to add another day in here. So you add another day to celebrate that coincidence between the daily and the weekly cycle. Moving on. Coming to the end of a month here, so you add another 29th day. And over here, boom, you've got the daily cycle and the weekly cycle coinciding over here on the waxing moon area. There you have it. So you're adding another day, coming through, coming towards the end of the whole calendar. So you come down to the whole calendar, boom. Now you got the daily cycle and the weekly cycle coinciding again. So you add your 29th day, which you do at the end of every 28 days, and this other day for when the daily cycle and the weekly cycle coincide. And then as you move forward from this point, you're going to see this green box shift from here to here. So let me go back a day. This is the last day of the year. Now, as you start this new calendar cycle, which is a full 7-moon cycle, you're going to see this green box move from here down to here. And that takes off 2 divided by 7 days. It takes off a little bit of time to coincide so that you adjust the time of the full moon with its natural time, to its average time as it moves through time. New moon cycle starts. You're going to see this green jump down here. Here we go. Boom. Now you see the green down here as the new calendar starts. So the calendar itself is 7 moon cycles, but then you can count 7 of those moon cycles to complete the whole calendar with this green square, starting at the beginning, going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to its beginning. So the calendar itself is 7 moon cycles times 7. So the calendar is really 49 moon cycles. And the calendar is 2 seconds off each moon cycle. So really the calendar is off by about 100 seconds every 49 moon cycles. That's less than a minute. So that's 1 minute and 40 seconds is how accurate this calendar is for every 49 moon cycles. It's off by 1 minute and 40 seconds. So this is a very simple, very precise calendar. Just wanted to show you that's how the calendar works. Okay, now let's get back to the slides. Okay, so I just went through showing you how the calendar actually counts time. You actually saw it happen, counting the days through the cycle. And I actually talked about how at the end of the whole calendar cycle, the time of the full moon is adjusted, where you jump from one time up to, you count up 2 squares around this outer cycle to here. That's at the end of every 7 moon cycles, every 7 months. So at the end of 7 moon cycles, the time of the calendar is adjusted. In the image to the right, the time is adjusted by 2 marks counterclockwise. So there are 7 marks around the outside of the calendar which represent the time of day. They go clockwise from night to morning to afternoon to evening. So it's going through the time of day here. And the adjustment is 2 of these marks going counterclockwise backwards in time. So you're actually going backwards in time by 2 marks. 1, 2 when you make the adjustment. This adjustment subtracts 2 out of 7, 2 divided by 7 days from the count of the calendar, which is 207 days. When we subtract 2 divided by 7 days from 207 days, we get 206.7142857 days for the complete calendar. So the complete calendar of 7 moon cycles is this 206.7142857. We then divide this number by the 7 moon cycles of the calendar to get the time per moon cycle, which turns out to be the 29 days, 0.5306122 days. The difference between this time and the actual scientific time is negative 0.0000234 days, which is equal to 2 seconds. So the calendar is accurate to 2 seconds every moon cycle. And we'll just finish up here with the blue cross. Time passes through the 4 cardinal points of the blue cross. These can be times of rest, spiritual retreat, or time off from work, or one can make them special times of celebration. Time passes on the blue cross every 7th day of the daily cycle. So, 1 day a week. You can rest, have your spiritual retreat. You decide. And also every 7th week of the weekly cycle, and with the added day at the end of every month, which is down here, it's a time of returning back to spirit, so to speak, and you can rest, take time off from work, enrich yourself, celebrate, whatever you want to do. And then with the added days at the end of every 7 weeks. So these 4 days out here are also times of crossing the blue cross, and you celebrate the blue cross on those days. And also when the calendar starts out down here, it's also a time when you can celebrate the blue cross. Why not make it spiritual? If this is the mathematics of how the moon cycle counts, there's got to be spirit in there somewhere. Return to spirit. Live your life, return to spirit. Why not make those special times of crossing the blue cross something really special and go spiritual? That's the way I see it. So the calendar is simple, very exact, symbolically consistent, and meaningful. Take it from me, I'm a 7th son, so apparently I know what I'm talking about. All right, you guys, bye-bye.